Okay, we're going to learn section 6.2, solving by substitution. Before Christmas break, we solved systems by graphing. You can still use that to check your answers. And remember that what you're trying to get is an order pair if they're going to intersect. So let's see what we got. So here's your steps. First, you need to solve one of the equations for one variable, substitute into the other equation, solve for the remaining variable, and substitute in the original equation and check your work in both equations. Another way to check is to graph it, but mathematically the order pair should fit both. Remember, if you're going to graph, the quickest thing is to use the graphing calculator to check it with. So here is the first problem. What I want you to do on each of these problems is look for the hint. There's a hint in this problem, and it is right here. That y variable out of the four variables is the simplest to go after and get by itself to solve for it. So what I'm going to do is try to get just this y by itself, so I need to take and add 2x to both sides. So when I do that, I'm going to have positive 2x plus 1. Now, some of your homework may already have a variable solved for. It could be the x or it could be the y in one of the equations. If it is, you won't have to worry about that first step. So in this case, I need you to get this y by itself. You would not want to go after this one. It has a 2 with it. You'll end up with fractions. You would not want to go after this x or this x because you end up with fractions. So since this has a 1 in front of it, then this is the easiest one to go after. And so here's what I've done is I have solved for that y. This is what I got. Now, when I teach how to use the substitution method, I always circle the stuff that I'm substituting into the other equation. So this says y is the same thing as 2x plus 1. So I'm going to take 2x plus 1 and replace it with the y variable in the other equation. What you're going to see when I do that is I'm going to have one equation with one variable now. And I want you to pay attention right here. This 2, see it's here, and then where the y is, I replaced it with 2x plus 1. Now we're back to a basic equation like we saw back earlier in the year. So we've got to distribute first. And don't forget you're going to get a plus 2 here. Don't forget that. And then we want to clean up this side. So put these two together and get 9x plus 2 equals negative 16. Subtract 2. Then divide by 9. And you're going to get x equals negative 2. Now that's half your answer. Remember, you're after an order pair. And so what I can do now is I can take this, because it's saying the x variable is equal to negative 2, I can take it back up here to the circle, and I can replace the x right here with negative 2, and I will now get the y, and I'll be done. So look for that. Make sure you circle first, do all of this, and then come back at the end and look for what you circled earlier, and then you can finish the problem. So I'm going to take negative 2 here. So I want you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to do it right down here. So 2 times negative 2 plus 1, and whatever that gives me, that'll be the y coordinate. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 1, and that'll be negative 3. So the order pair is negative 2, negative 3. Now, if you go and plug this order pair back in here and here, you're going to see it's true. And then if you put negative 2, negative 3 here, you're going to see it's also true. Let me show you the bottom one. Negative 2 is negative 10, and then the negative 16. Put those together, you do get negative 16. I'll put this one in the top one. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a 4, and then when this is negative 3, 4 minus 3 is positive 1. So I checked it, and that's how you'll check those.